Bring a Trailer podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bring a Trailer podcast. Alex Porter coming to you from San Francisco headquarters of Bring a Trailer, joined by Randy sitting right next to me. Hey, Randy.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, buddy. Thanks for being here. And joined for, I think, the second time by Matt Crandall. 911R maybe is what you're most famously known as on the website. And, of course, owner and operator of Avant-Garde, a Bring a Trailer local partner and well-known seller in the collector car world. Thanks for being here again, Matt.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's exciting. Like I said, I think it was on one of the first podcasts, so it must have done something to be invited back.
Well, you've done a few good things. Randy, were you the host back then, or was that Howard?
I don't know. I think
It's
maybe
Howard.
both of us. Was it Howard for sure? Yeah, you're
Howard.
way back in the day.
Well, we're stoked to have you, man. You've expanded operations a lot. And one of the big reasons we wanted to chat with you today is because we just had one of the BAT events at your facility, and it looked like it was a hell of a blowout. And that's your original facility. We need to talk about where you're located now, too. But this was in Oregon.
Yeah, so this was our second Bring a Trailer Gathering event. The first one was in Scottsdale, but we had it at our original location in Portland. And, we're kind of in a downtown east side industrial area. When we decided to go to the Bring Trailer auction format as our sole selling practice, I just wanted to be in warehouse. So, I found this kind of gritty neighborhood warehouse back in 2016, 17, and we took that over. But for this event, it was a great setting. It was a really cool industrial feel, cool buildings. We spent like 3 or 4 weeks cleaning the area up, because Portland has some great homeless problems and moved through a lot of that. I think we did more street beautification the city has had in years. But besides that, it really turned out to be a fabulous day.
That's awesome, man. I know there's some street closures and other stuff. Were you kind of prepared for the crowds? It was 500 or 600 cars, something like that?
It was about 600 cars. It was probably 2,000 people, though. And we have 2 locations on the same street. They're about a little more than a block apart. So, running back and forth between the 2 buildings, hosting everybody. I know the whole Bring a Trailer crew, which was awesome, was tired. Everybody was fighting for the golf cart.
But you got killer weather, hot
and sweaty. Everybody was sunburned.
but packed streets and a freaking ton of cars. And what I kept telling Randy, the photos had the look of kind of a manufactured event. It looked like somebody was ready to drop some new denim there or something. It sure looked awesome. It was like lifestyle brands. It's exactly what we hope for with these events.
Yeah, I mean, I was not present, but I looked through the gallery and trying to kind of live vicariously through the eyes. And I heard, Matt, about the numbers that showed up and that it was a monster of an event, which is kind of becoming your specialty, buddy. I mean,
Yeah.
the Scottsdale one had a rep for that, but that one at least, I visited your facility down there, and you're kind of sequestered away from main traffic and that sort of stuff. This one seemed like it was like an urban takeover, like totally. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how you guys managed it when that many people showed up, but the environment looked cool. The mix of cars looked really neat. The number of people in the photos, I actually really like.
Yes,
sometimes it's like front 3/4 view. It looks like an auction when you're like or cars at an event. It's just like the front corner of a car. But this one, there's like 4 people walking by, and there's 2 people behind it, and there's a kid next to it, and there's somebody in it. And there was just so much action going on. It seemed really vibrant. So anyway, my hat is off to you, man. You are responsible for crowd control. Whenever I need a guy responsible for crowd control, it's going to be you, Matt Crandall.
Yeah. When we did the Arizona event, it was like 30 minutes for people to get to the parking lot. But for the Portland one, we did all the planning, right? We submitted for the street closures and all this stuff. And I can say now, we never got the approvals.
Statute of limitations.
But we took over the streets, and at one point, we're down in this industrial area. It's backed all the way up to Broadway, all the way to I-5, I guess. It was nuts for people trying to get in. But, then the neighbors in the area came out and opened up their parking lots, and it was just super well received. Everybody was really excited and just been getting lots of calls and emails since about, how cool it was and how neat it was to see the people. And if you ever have been to these events, you guys hand out those name tags that, everybody puts their username on. And so it's kind of a cool thing, like, oh, that's, so-and-so, or, of course, PX Brian, exactly. Yeah, he was holding court, Barry, and like, you need to have his own umbrella girls and stuff.
Oh, sure. I'm sure. You got some heavy hitters out there, too. What was the story on the silver Enzo? I don't think I've ever seen one in that color before.
That's a good client of ours that we take care of his cars and stuff. And yeah, that's a real rare car. I think there's only 2 of them.
Amazing. Any other highlights for you? Any other like standouts or cars you were surprised to see?
Gosh, there was just some cool JDM stuff that showed up because that's like a big Portland scene. There was Mitsubishi Evos that were cool. There was a Mustang it was a 67 Shelby with twin Paxtons on it that was original. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen it. It was cool. The car was tight.
I thought one Paxton was enough.
Yeah, man. He went dack them up. Dack a few of them up, man. Why not?
I'll send you a picture of it, Randy. It's pretty cool. But I did take a lot of pictures. That was one of the things I took a picture like, wow, that's neat. But it was just the sheer quantity and quality of cars and people that just really made it stand out.
Yeah, and the setting too, man. There's some famous 911R images, the big bridge. I don't know what that bridge is called, but it's been in the back of some of your auction shops.
Yeah, the Fremont Bridge is quite famous. And, we have this really cool, turn of the century warehouse in Portland. It's our storage building in big barrel wood roof. It's just really gorgeous. And it made a great backdrop for cool photos. We had a little band playing and, the poor concessionaire for the coffee and the pastries, that guy was worn out.
I went through like 900 donuts.
So it was like, I love that. Our team gave us universally great feedback and everyone had a great time. Everyone talked about how warm it was, which is awesome, right? Like that's, just makes the day even better, I think. What's the kind of split these days between the Arizona facility and the Portland facility? And maybe you could even just tell us a little bit about how that evolved. By the way, I didn't know that you moved into the Portland facility specifically to sell on BAT. That's news to me.
Yeah, well, going back to, 2009, I think was when I signed up to be a user on Bring a Trailer, and you guys would highlight our auctions. I think I've always been really into the marketing and the photos and stuff. You guys would highlight our auctions quite a bit. I think the first one was our R5 Turbo, and also my phone started ringing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and then that car, and then he listed that car recently, and I commented on it.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a very early one that
super early
was listed when you were at the dealer across town, right? And then, what was it, a Tonkin car? Or I forget what the deal was.
Actually, it wasn't a Tonkin car, but that car was one of my good buddies who had bought it new and brought it in through was it Sun International?
Sun International.
Yeah.
That's what I'm in. Yeah.
Brought those cars in and we sold it. Then you guys highlighted them. And, of course, we always would try and push everything we could to get you guys to highlight a car. Then you started the auctions, and we sold that Formula One car. And
I remember that, the golden display roller. That was like one of my first maybe couple weeks or months on the job. I remember it very well. But you guys have like evolved the way you've done things a lot since then, and obviously opened this new facility too.
100%. So yeah, when I decided, why have those sales guys that bring the trailer auction route, we went to the warehouse, and that's been our 100% focus since. But in 2021, I really wanted to open the Scottsdale store because I had so many clients down here in Scottsdale in Arizona. So I had to go through the process of training a new manager to run the Portland store because Portland was going to still be the mainstay. And you were at Scottsdale as, as kind of a fill-in and do 5-10 cars. This is how I sold this to my wife. Amy, if you guys have bought anything with us, you've all dealt with Amy. She runs everything in the office. So we came down to Scottsdale, and immediately, within 30 days, we were on par with Portland for volume. And Scottsdale has just got super, super popular, and we love it here. So we spend most of our time here. Then I fly back once or twice a month to Portland for 3-4 days and keep all that great crew up there happy and the cars going through. I was just looking through our Portland warehouse before I left, and we have like 70 cars, in queue to go and bring a trailer in Portland right now. So it is still going strong.
That's amazing. I haven't told you, Randy, but Matt's constantly hitting me up. Where's the auction? But you're no 5R. No matter how fast we go, it's not fast enough for a 911R.
Love that. Get them live. Let's turn 70 into 170.
Yes, exactly.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm always pushing the envelope.
You're cranking. I mean, when Randy and I were down in Arizona a couple of months ago, you were telling me, you had cars spilling out of the building down there.
Yeah. We've had to open a second warehouse here.
Amazing. You're kind of an experienced racer too. You started racing in Oregon. Are you racing primarily in Arizona these days? You doing both? What's the racing looking like these days for you?
Well, I've been a club racer. I started racing motorcycles back in 94 or 5. Quickly decided I was not a motorcycle racer, I was a car racer. after I get tired of picking up my motorcycle parts. But started racing cars like 99. And I've done lots of club. I've done Porsche Cup stuff. I've done a lot of Pro Trans Am stuff. I've done Formula Atlantic. I race wing sprint cars. I'm definitely a motorhead. I can almost say I work to race. I love it.
How are you balancing the two things? Are you still racing as much as you used to, or is the sales business taking up most of your time?
The sales business takes up a lot of time. I have partners that work on the cars and deal with the cars, and like the Auto Works. I think you're very familiar with Randy, and
Another one of our partners.
Exactly. Yeah. Eli takes care of my Porsche Cup car here, but it's getting ready to ship up to Oregon here next week, and we got a few races up in Oregon planned for it. Then we'll be at the Monterey Historics running the Historic Trans Am race as well.
Running in the Falcon, right?
Yes.
Can I reveal that, Matt? Is that okay?
Sure,
Absolutely. Great. Randy and I really like that car.
Absolutely. Saw it last time. It's been through there a couple different times, and it's just a special 64
Falcon.
Yeah, with real history. And
Real history.
a neat car. Yep.
Yeah, neat car.
I'm jealous you get to drive that. It's pretty neat.
It's a hoot. It's a hoot.
That's owned by that client of yours that I met when I was down there, right? Who's kind of a big Ford guy. He was a nice guy.
He's a big Ford guy, Jim Beatty. He loves Shelbys. He's very passionate about all old Fords. And the rougher they are, the better. If you guys anybody comes by and sees the Falcon and Monterey, they're like, what the hell is this thing?
But I recall you telling me you got a ball driving that thing last year.
Total hoot. It's just, it's pretty fun when you have, 400 horsepower and 6-inch tires.
Yeah.
You're just driving around sideways. It's just
that's something you're learning about, Randy.
Learning. I'm trying to be Matt Crandall. Everybody's trying to be Matt Crandall.
That's true.
It's a little different than a GT car, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Any other racing you're doing? I thought, were you driving Trans Am cars too at one point?
Yeah, I raced in Trans Am Series in XGT, which is now a TA Cup, was involved with the Chris Evans cars, and they've taken over a whole class that is one step down from the top class from Trans Am. They're V8, we call them like TA2 cars, if you're familiar with that, on steroids. Really fun car, the D2 to about 650 horsepower, 2,800 pounds. Exactly. But yeah. Ran those for a couple of years or 3 years, and super fabulous. But lately I've been really involved with the Apex Motor Club down here in Arizona, and they have a great race program. They have everything from Miatas to GT cars to Radicals, and a fabulous facility if you're ever in the Arizona area.
Is that the place where you were driving, Randy? Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
I've been very lucky to get to drive there. Arizona's fantastic.
I know. I think that's what Zach was telling me just the other day. He's like, you need to go there, Alex, and start driving down there. The Miatas are like a spec Miatas, or no, it's a brand new thing, right? Like it's some kind of a Miata Cup.
It's an MX-5 Cup car with the sequential gearbox and everything.
Okay, and you drove one of those, right?
I've driven it a fair amount. Yeah, I drove it at Laguna, drove it in Arizona. that's like the practice car. Yeah, some people use that as their series, and they run them, and they're fast in them, which is pretty neat.
I've actually never driven one. I'd actually like to jump in one. Everybody's raving about it, right? They're talking about like I'm 35 of them at Apex this year.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Very cool cars.
Randy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be driving at Monterey? Can we talk about that, or potentially?
I mean, it's all potential.
I know it's potential.
It's all potential at this point. Well, I'd love to be down there. I'd like to say I'm trying to be Matt Crandall, but yeah. Anyway, there's a chance that I'll be in a Mustang this year, but I'm kind of leaving it low key because we got to hold those things loosely. We got to see what actually
what transpired.
But I hope to be down there with
still happen.
I hope to be down there with you in the paddock, Matt. There's some bobbing and weaving that needs to happen in the next 60 days to make that happen, as is always the thrash before, and not just with the car, with some rules and with the driver and everything. So anyway.
I'm so excited about it. Even tangentially, to be around all you guys doing this stuff is really exciting.
It's not racy if you're not thrashing it the night before. I can tell you that after all these years.
Like
it's just part of the program.
Hearing Randy talk about some of it, I'm like, oh God, I'm having like sweats from when my car used to break on the first, out lap or whatever after you've done a bunch of work to it. So I know.
I've changed engines and transmissions in the pits between qualifying races. I don't know how many times.
That's so much commitment. You guys are so much braver than I am. That's amazing. Should we talk a little bit about what you got in the pipeline, Matt? Anything exciting that folks should know that you've got coming up that you want to tease in terms of options?
We got a really cool car. I think it's going live either later today or first thing in the morning. I got a 68 L88 Corvette.
Wow.
Really cool car. Lots of history, judged prominence, and it's going to be a pretty exciting one. I don't know if there's been a real L88. I guess, the race car just closed.
The Garner car.
Yeah, the Garner car. But I don't know if there's been another L88.
Yeah. I think there has. Has there?
A couple.
Yeah, but low numbers. I mean, that's a very special engine, right? I don't actually know all the details.
I was going to say, can one of you guys school me on it a little bit? I know the number, and I think we've listed one or two, but they're like 500 to 700K cars and stuff.
Yeah. I think they built like 80 or 88 cars or 84. It's very small numbers.
But is it mainly the engine, or is there other stuff the L88?
It was basically a race car for the street. I mean, these were just really built to be, kind of like the GT3 cars or the Coupe cars, that type of stuff of today. I mean, it was a race car. There was a big sticker on the center console, 103 fuel only from the factory. I mean, it's a pretty extreme car. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see.
And they're all early C3s, or there's a C2 L88 also?
C3.
C3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, C3. Yeah. So, it's something about being in Arizona. I've had to be a lot more astute with American cars. There's a lot of American stuff down here. I've always been pretty good with the Shelbys and Mustangs and stuff, but the C2s, C3s, the Tri-5s, and the hot rods come out of the woodworks down here. I mean, everybody's got like 6 of them. It's pretty funny. So
you don't ever want to cross a C2 owner. You want to be. So that's why I need you guys to teach me about L88s, because I don't want to try to talk to somebody about it and be wrong.
Yeah, C2s and C3s. Oh my God, these guys. Yeah. They're very excited. I can bring him to, my other world would be, the German world of the 914 and 2002 people.
Oh, yes. Be careful with the Porsche people. I can speak their language a little bit better, but yeah, you got to be careful about them too.
Yes.
Randy's a recovering C2 owner. That was one of the big early BAT things. I followed that split window thing and wanted one so bad. And Randy's now disabused me of wanting one of those cars.
You should get one. I should get another one. I mean, I love those cars. Matt, I mean, that's being inspired in the paddock, like when you'll be in Monterey. Summer. I mean, I basically built a car because of a car I stared at in the paddock for years and years and years.
Really? I didn't know that.
The number 6 Daytona Blue Z06. I don't know if you remember that car. A woman raced it for years and years.
Really? At Monterey, like in the historic?
Yes, every single year. And then it did the tour of all the California races, Sonoma and every place else. And
that car's in the Bay Area, isn't it?
Well, it's sold through Mecum. And it was called the Paul Reinhardt Z06. And it was, one of the real Z06s that were delivered like right at the beginning. They only made, not so many of them. And then it had
like
great
50
history
or something, or even less.
But for the promotions at the Riverside race and all those 6s that were released to the race drivers, and they picked them up at the factory, and it was a big promotional thing. And that car was really special. So no joke. I bought a junk with window and tried to build that car, no bumpers and torque thrusts, and it had no side pipes. It had underneath exhaust. Man, that car was so cool. But I tried to build. I built kind of an okay street car to be like that. But no, man, forget nerves about C2 people or whatever. Just like do whatever you want to do. Just buy it and build it. And I like roadsters. I like roadsters with hardtops.
Yeah.
I like windows. I like 64s. I like all of them.
Yeah.
I just think they're so cool and so cool looking. And unfortunately, the real split windows have gotten expensive.
Yes,
so
they've got since 63s have really gone up.
Man, they've gone crazy.
They're really nuts.
And we just had one that sold yesterday or went through yesterday.
The gold one?
Gold?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
That guy was, I think, the high bidder on James Garner too. He's bought like 70 Corvettes on BAT.
Are you kidding?
No. Look it up.
I know you're talking about. We've sold him a couple of cars.
He's a big Corvette.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love those cars. And I used to be very much like, Ford versus Chevy and blah, 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 blah. And I'm the Ford guy. But now I'm like, I love it. I think
they're all good. They're all fun.
You driven a fair amount of them, Matt?
Well, I grew up, my father has 64 Vet that we kind of did a restoration on in the garage. I'm looking back, I can really say kinda. But so I spent a lot of time around that 64 Corvette as a kid. So that was like, I was the kid that knew all the Corvette, I could identify, by bumpers, whatever year it was. But then I quickly moved on to German cars.
Yeah, that has a tendency to happen. I'm going the other way. Randy has schooled me on Corvettes and American cars, and no, I really want one. I actually like 67 C2s, the five gills and disc brakes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have a image. I've told this to Randy before, but when I was going to Cal Poly when I was like 20 years old in San Luis Obispo, California, there was a engineering student who drove a ratty, I think it was a 66 C2 when they were still pretty cheap cars, and it was kind of half primered, half worn out orange, and it had side pipes and rally wheels.
Yeah.
I was like, what a cool car. Would be parked out in front of High Street Deli. Oh my God. I still think about that car a lot. It was kind of sitting low, right stance. It's hard to deny them just looking at them, you know?
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Absolutely.
Well, your kind of team has grown a little bit, but you still kind of run on the lean side. Your wife is lovely, and we appreciate everything that Amy does. But how many folks you got? Justin's also the man. We should shout him out because
Justin
Portland. A lot in Portland, right? And he's up there, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, and Justin and Tyler up there in Portland really do a great job, and we've kind of gone to a little bit of a central office. Stephanie runs our office up in Portland, so a lot of deals all go through the Portland office, then it gets split out to whatever state they're in. We try to condense it. We do keep it lean and mean, but gosh, I think we have 25, 30 people.
Geez, that's way more than I thought. I know that's a real deal. That even stresses you out a little.
I like that though.
Well, one of the biggest things I love about our Portland store is our shop. We have a fabulous shop in Portland, very Porsche centric, but they can work on anything. They were doing a Countach transmission yesterday. We got a 74 Carrera that we're tearing motor down doing right now. We do all our own engines and transmissions and restorations in Portland. We do some really cool builds. I do 2 or 3 really cool builds a year. But then all the cars also go to the shop and we do the mechanical inspection and, check them out and repair. And we do dry ice cleaning at both locations. But so, it's just the support staff, everything from the runners to the detailers to the mechanics, just to keep everything going.
It's a lot.
It
takes a lot to do it.
Yeah, let alone the photography and the videos and all that.
That's just a lot to manage. I think the reason Randy was groaning is when we got to that number of employees at BAT, that felt like a lot to manage.
It's a thing. It's
a lot.
And then you start doing it in 2 locations, and it's got to be keeping you up at night a little bit. But from where we're sitting and reputationally, I feel like you've scaled it. I mean, obviously, we've kind of grown alongside each other, and we've watched how it's expanded from the early days to today. And reputationally, I mean, people talk about 911R as being the thing, Matt, and not to let that go to your head. Don't let that go to your head, too. But no, I mean, I think it's great. And Alex, you took your car down there. You told that whole story about how you did that, and I think people have really embraced the drop your keys and have it listed on BAT thing as opposed to doing it themselves. I mean, there's so many. You're going super deep on the Scottsdale market and the Oregon market, which are 2 really great places to do that. But across the country, I mean, all over the place, people are finding that, not that it's hard to do it on BAT yourself, but people just want to spend their time some other way than monitoring everything on a sale, right? They love buying cars. This guy, I mean, you just opened this guy's account.
He's actually won 117.
He's a Corvette guy.
In 17 cars. Yeah. And there's, the crazy part, Matt, is there's actually a lot of people like that have bought like
crazy,
if not triple digits on BAT.
Totally.
Which is totally which is crazy.
It's like an addiction.
But then if you look at
who's an addiction,
if you look at who's sold in volume, it all goes to the pros because those guys aren't going to sell 9 cars.
Totally.
There's no way, right?
But some of these guys are probably your clients, right, Matt? They buy and then they turn to you to sell it, right?
Absolutely. You'd be surprised how many new car store owner dealers that I have that I handle their car collections, and they just have, instead of running them through their own companies, they ship them to me and I handle them.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of them.
I mean, it makes sense. I like to think I know what it takes to sell a car ethically, but I'm not going to get the photos that your team can get. I don't have a dry ice cleaner in my garage.
Right.
So it just makes all the sense in the world when you have trust and faith in somebody to do it the right way, to have them do it for you.
Yeah, the partner program is just awesome. Of course, I want to have the cars, but all the other guys they're doing what you do. It's a lot. It takes a lot.
Totally.
But really, the reality is, wherever the partners are charging, you get it out because your car's going to do better. It's going to be better represented. Everybody's going to be happier in the end, and it's just going to be easier. And you just get to sit back and have fun and watch the last 2 minutes, keep going.
I got to drive my car to Arizona, have a beer with Matt, drop the key, and walk away.
Right. Exactly. Key beer.
Totally.
That should be the slogan.
Still key beer.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly. I mean, it's pretty posh, when it comes down to it. So
Yeah.
anyway, no, that has worked super well. But yeah, just watching from the sidelines, man. I mean, obviously, everybody starts from somewhere, and you guys were already kind of doing your own thing, but moving it into BAT, and then the scale that it's gone to now is wild. You just saying that there's a warehouse. I actually kind of want to go see it.
Totally.
You say there's a warehouse with 70 cars that are all coming to BAT. I'm like, ooh. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, ooh. Like, what's in there? You know what I mean? I kind of want to go cherry pick a couple of things.
Well, when we were down there, you were talking about hot rods, Matt, that 32 Ford and that 40 Ford. You and I were kind of freaking out about those two cars. I think that was the same seller, those beautiful black,
Right.
the 40 Ford and the Deuce Roadster with the fall windshield.
Yeah. Those
Those
neat cars.
so great, so fantastic.
We used to, as hot rods, we used to really bitch in 32 Ford with a Buick motor in it. Really beautiful restoration, and that's going to be coming up out of Portland.
Little nailhead action.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
Alex is like,
Yeah.
oh man, tell me the detail.
Yeah, it's badass.
Cooper Roadster.
Coupe.
Oh no. Okay, well let's talk offline.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Oh no. 32 Ford Coupe with a nailhead. That's like a dream for me.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh gosh. I can't even remember. I had another question for you.
Tore up my nailhead.
The Tommy Ivo T bucket, nailhead with Hill. I don't want to put Hillborn on it, but man, does that look good. A nailhead with Hillborn injection.
Randy and me, we used to bought the same car. We both got 59 356s.
That's right.
Oh,
that's right. Yeah. It's been driving his. You had yours on an event. You did Copper State in yours?
I did the Copper. Well, I did most of the Copper State. Did catch on fire.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Tell us that story. If you or should we get about something else?
No, we can talk about it.
You said you do all your motors in house.
He's sort of a mop his car.
Exactly.
Do electrical work in house.
No, this was a failed brand new carburetor.
Oh,
it split apart and dumped all the gas out and just kept dumping gas.
no.
We were on the Copper State pulling into St. George, and we're like literally 150 yards from the hotel. We're kind of coming down this windy little road, and it's just kind of decelling down through. And I went to the gas, and the gas is like pedal was stuck. I'm like, well, that's no good. But it's 356. Who cares? We're not talking a huge horsepower. And I'm like, oh, it's running bad. I'm still like the hotel. I can see the parking lot entry. Then I look in the back window, and Amy's sitting next to me. And I looked at the back. I'm like, oh God, we're on fire. Flames are pouring out. So I jump out and grab first of all, I grabbed those element fire extinguishers. Do not suggest those. I don't think they could put out a cigarette. So yeah, there's a PSA there. Grabbed the other fire extinguisher, got it out. But yeah, literally it had a brand new one of the HPMX carburetors on it, and the float bolt split in the casting. And then it fell down the engine and bent a valve.
Oh.
So yeah, we were stuck in St. George, Utah.
So sorry. I mean, you say flames, like is it coming out around the engine lid and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, was it
Serious flames.
like paint and like everything?
Yes.
Oh yeah, love. Wow.
The neat thing is a very, very original patina car, so it just kind of buffed it out. Little dry ice cleaning, buffed it out. She's still as good.
Oh, does it? Wow, you saved it. Okay, amazing. Good. I'm glad you were able to put
We got it. I'm literally got the fire ignited fast, and we got it out fast. So it was
okay.
Thank God. Well, Randy just had a more successful run jetting all over Europe in his car.
Yeah, we talked about that. Maybe that's where you saw the pictures, Matt. But anyway, those cars are fun to rip around in, and I hope yours gets back on the road before long.
She is. She's back on the road.
Yeah.
It was promenade in the back display.
Is that right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hey, okay, so it's in Portland now. You have Arizona, but you sent it to Portland because that's where the mechanical gets done.
Yeah, I sent it up there.
The Countach had to wait. The Countach transmission
had to wait, yeah. And all 356 had to get fixed.
Important. That's important stuff.
It is.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the inside of your facility. Obviously, the event spilled out all over the streets, but the inside of your facility, you had a bunch of Porsches. You had a bunch of NASCAR race cars in there, right?
Yeah, we have those are coming up. Yeah, we have a Tony Stewart car, Mark Austin car, and one other car, but I'm not sure what it was.
Wow. You've probably driven some of those or played around with those. I don't think you drove NASCAR, but you've driven cars. At PIR, or where have you driven those cars?
I've driven NASCARs at PR mainly. Yeah.
Okay. Like Alex and I have some fantasy of when I see a Skull Bandit like Oldsmobile.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, and they sell, I mean, really, I mean, yours are really nice, and Tony Stewart and stuff, they have those sell and can get up into six figures or whatever else. But like some of the NASCARs that are really cool looking and not full of cobwebs, but not somewhere in between, right? Kind of a driver car, they'll sell for, I don't know, 40 grand, 50 grand. And we always think, we're like, man, they're cool to look at and just have them in the shop. But we're like, man, if you could just track day one of those or whatever.
Even just twice a year.
Can you put us out of our misery? Like, is that the worst idea of all time?
No,
or is they're actually cool to go do?
They're pretty fun. The only thing that sucks about them is, I'm 6 foot. So all those guys are like jockeys, and they have these tiny little seats. So crawling in and out of that little window is something you can't be claustrophobic.
They also sit real close to the steering wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Because when
you're up on the wheel.
Yeah, that's right.
Up on the wheel. That's what they are.
Is that right? I always thought Tony Stewart was like a big old dude. Or is he a short?
He's kind of round, but he's short.
Well, that doesn't help, Randy, because I really want to do that.
He's fast, but he's short.
We've got the guy right here.
I know, but he's
saying the cars. He's driven.
He's saying it's a smart idea, dude. Yeah. With a beer livery or chewing tobacco livery is a must. And I like the 80s and 90s cars.
They're cool.
Many years ago, I can't remember if I told you this, Randy, but this is why I've always been obsessed with this idea. A guy came to a NASA time trial event that I was running in my old Pro 7, and he had like one of those big, long, like 36-foot triple axle trailers, and he had 2 full-size vintage NASCARs and like a little, I don't even know what it was. It looked like a 3/4 size NASCAR. I think it maybe had a motorcycle engine.
It was a Legend.
Yeah, something like that. But
they had like a Legend NASCAR.
But it was like a full envelope-bodied Legend instead of open wheel. And he was out there ripping them, and they sounded so cool. And especially when you're running with like a bunch of sports cars, they look and sound so. Everyone else looked like a wimp compared to that guy, right? I mean, which I really like. And he just had a big old smile when you get out of the cars, too. Yeah. So that was 15 years ago, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. Even if you just went and ran it once a year, I think it would be fun.
They're totally fun. They absolutely are. There's nothing like a giant American V8.
Totally. You just put a Summit, crate motor in it. You don't need the crazy NASCAR motor, and rip it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think it would be fun. What I'm learning about doing more driver training is that some cars can wear you out, though.
Yes.
It's driving those, you're just like sore and like,
you're tired. You're tired.
You wish you were 25. You know what I mean? Driving one of those, and you're just like, man, that was work.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that what those are like? I mean, they're big and heavy and powerful.
35 pounds.
I presume they're like that, right?
No, they're a lot of work. They're a lot of shoulder strength, a lot of neck and arm and leg. They're not assisted brakes. Like most race cars, people are out tracking and racing around, have power assisted brakes. So, to get the big brake pressure hits, it's not that hard, but you get in a car with, even in your HC8 car, Randy, it's, not assisted, and you got to push 1,400 pounds to get these cars to stop. And so that's a workout.
Yep.
The Falcon, I'm driving at Historics, they kind of frown on modern seats, which I don't get. So it's a low back racing seat, and my shoulders are so worked after I get out of that car. It's tough. So,
but that's good. I want to feel like I've accomplished something. I mean,
definitely feel like it.
I actually didn't know that you drove sprints, Matt, but I had a buddy who was an oval track. He drove Altereds. Is that what they're called? They don't have wings. They look like NASCARs, kind of.
The mods.
Mods, yes.
Yeah.
And he had also driven open wheel cars, and I asked him the same question you did. I was like, what would it be like to open track a NASCAR? And he's like, well, it weighs twice as much as most of the other cars and has half as much tire. Or nothing is assisted. So you're going to be tired, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Look like a damn hero.
And it's so heroic.
Very manly.
So
very manly.
So that I'm looking for the manly series, but it's not having it be hard.
Well,
it's not really how that works. It has to be hard to be the manly.
One open track event a day. We'll each just do a 10-minute stint and then just get out and have a
great.
Feel great.
Yeah, that's pricey per lap. If you break that down, that's pretty expensive per lap.
That's a lot to be feel like a man.
Right?
I was going through one of my feeds the other day. There was a picture of Dick Trickle smoking in at Daytona 500 in the car.
Amazing.
Manly.
Amazing. I went last year to the Indy 500 and I went to the Little 500. Have you ever heard of that event where they do 500 sprint car laps around a quarter-mile track and they have to pit them because they don't have enough fuel to do it?
Right.
And talk about a manly event. That's what the spectators at that one are too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was an awful lot of Coors Light and just open trough urinals and everything.
Yes.
It was hardcore. And then my buddy, same race car buddy, shout out Jeff, he sent me a picture of somebody racing. The Little 500 has been going on forever, racing a non-winged sprint in like the 50s. And he's like, doesn't that catch fence and the stands look exactly the same? I'm like, I'm sure they are. They are rusty and everything. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Scary.
I like manly racing.
Put you in one of those, man.
Oh,
there you go. Good.
What's amazing, this was probably true for you too, Matt, when you were driving. I mean, like the kids in the oval track feeder series are they were like 17-year-olds that were so fast in those cars, those non-winged sprints. You know what I mean? They were like unbelievable. Like those were people looking to climb their way up into NASCAR and stuff.
All these kids nowadays are they're incredible with what they do. And it's all in the karting. They started young. Totally. I have a good client that I was racing panos with, and he was one of my clients. And his son is now racing IndyCar, but he started in go-karts. His name is Josh Pearson. But he was the youngest driver to run Le Mans. He's from Wilsonville, Oregon. Pretty cool. But yeah, Josh Pearson, I think he got fourth at Detroit in the last race. So
wow,
pretty cool.
That's amazing.
And he's 17 or 18 now. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. There's nothing like a child to embarrass you especially when you think you're kind of fast. Speaking of legends, there was one time I was out in a practice series and they let a 13-year-old loose with a bunch of Pro 7s in his legend car because he just needed to get a couple laps, Button Willow. And like, I remember somebody saying, they're like, don't be scared of the crazy looking car and the kid. And there was he was like younger than my teenage son. Hey guys, thanks. And like, he was so fast. I was like, I'm going home now. Just stop right now. What am I doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. Amazing.
Pretty fun.
All right, gents, parting shots. Matt, what should people know about? Anything coming up? Anything you want people to know about? Obviously 50 plus 911R listings every month. I know you've set some records this year.
Exactly. Yeah, no, we've been cranking that. We're just so glad and happy to be part of the Bring Trailer team and to be a partner with them and listing the cars. And just, it's so fun to interact with the buyers and the sellers and the commenters. And I just can't think of a better platform and be part of it. It's really cool.
The community loves you, man. Yeah. What about you, Randy? Anything to add before we're done here?
Then next time I'm going to see you, Matt, hopefully we'll be in Monterey this year, which will be exciting. There's some other racing and other BAT events, obviously, that are happening before that. We're all going out to Wisconsin, Matt. I don't know if you're out in Road America.
Road America, that'd be good.
Super fun. Anyhow, we're just kind of working through the calendar here in the summer, but
lots of racetracks. We're going to get lots of racetracks.
Lots of fun stuff on the site. And yeah, lots of working together. Matt, doing more film stuff. We appreciate your effort. We appreciate your team. I think everybody does. And I hope people express that to you because you get that from our side.
Well, thank you.
So it's fun to get to chat. I don't know how long we said it was since you were last on the podcast, but you're certainly visible on the site and we can get you back on the podcast whenever you have the stomach for it. Thanks for doing it.
I think it's been 5 years. I think it was
Get out of here.
No, you guys started the pod like everyone else right at the beginning of the pandemic.
If you would have asked me, I'd say, I don't know, 18 months? When was that? 18 months? I mean, COVID was dog years, so who knows what that even actually felt like. But man, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember Howard calling like, hey, we're trying this podcast thing.
We're still trying it.
We're still trying.
We're still trying this podcast. But it's fun to hear people's voices and fun to see you and chat.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys.
We appreciate you, Matt, and we appreciate all of you for listening. Please never hesitate to send questions, concerns, feedback, ideas, anything you got to podcast@bringatrailer.com. Thanks for listening as always, and we'll catch you next time.